Hello and welcome to Internet Capital Markets, the weekly show where we explore how financial systems are being rebuilt on the web. Each week, we sit down with the builders, investors, and institutional leaders shaping this transformation. From tokenized assets to decentralized finance, stablecoins, RWA, and everything in between. This show is brought to you by Flick, creator-led prediction markets. Before we introduce our guest, I'd like to welcome my co-founder and co-host, Jonas Sohmann, to the show. Hi, Jonas.
Hey, everybody. Nice to meet you again. Finally, we are back on track, I feel like, with a couple of shows scheduled. And now, today, it's like with great pleasure that we have Surbhi, one of the co-founders of Flick, on the show. And Flick is a Y Combinator-backed prediction market platform. And basically, they believe that it should be led by creators. And we will dive into that. She has a background in TradFi, so worked for Deutsche Börse before, also in the field of market making, with a position at GSR. Before she turns now her knowledge into prediction markets. And welcome on the show, Zoe. Really nice to have you.
Thank you both. And also, it was music to my ears to hear Deutsche Börse. Because I feel like it's such a German word that most people don't necessarily click with it. Eurex is more often that global
Right.
people say. But yes, thank you so much for inviting me here. And it's really cool what you guys are doing. I had no clue before, I met you, that you guys were behind the podcast and that you're building as well. So again, thanks for connecting and doing this.
Yeah, no, it's our pleasure. Maybe we start with a quick introduction here. Can you maybe tell the people out there a little bit more about you, your path, and why you decided to actually found Flick?
So about myself, I think you did a very good introduction, but I'll just redo it in maybe different format for those who missed it. I'm Surbhi, and Jonas actually pronounced my name very well, so thanks. I I do come from the world of traditional finance, and now I've been in the startup world for almost 4 years. And when I say startup world, particularly like building in crypto, and then now transitioning from not caring about crypto or blockchain as a tech, but rather the benefits of trading itself. Coming from TradFi, I think it was very evident and clear that it's one of the forms or the only innovative way that in today's world where people can really be uplifted, or there can be an equitable distribution of resources without anybody else choking you, or you really like doing wrong to someone else, right? So that was a very much the motivation. With this, we guys started back in 2022, where we guys launched an options trading platform, which is when we were backed by YCOM as well as Franklin Templeton. And the entire motivation did come from the fact that on blockchain, you have decentralization, transparency, which allows people to have more confidence. And it also allows trading to be much cheaper, especially of derivatives or the capital which is required to bring retail on board. So this is a thesis we very much started with. And why was it important is basically that we really believe, or I really believe in the idea that more people trade. Firstly, it's much more beneficial for the world because it allows people to earn money, spending less time on the knowledge that they have. And on the other hand, for the world itself, more people trading means more data points, so better decision making. And this is where prediction markets really fit in the basket of how it can evolve a developer world in a way which does uplift. I don't know if that made sense. I did go on a spiel for a bit.
No, definitely. But I need to dig into that, to be honest, because if you look at Flick today, it doesn't really look like a trading platform anymore, right? It really looks like a community-driven platform where creators can create event contracts. And you're coming from a trading background, and as I just understood, like Ethos was an option trading platform. Like how, basically became Flick. So what was the path towards like now building a creator-led prediction market platform? And like, was there a pivot involved? Give us a little bit more insights here, please.
Yes, there was a very strong pivot involved. To begin with, when we launched options platform, by the way, it was really exciting because it 1-upped or maybe 10-upped like perps. What it was that you could have leverage between 400x to 4000x,
Wow.
but with a maximum loss at 50%, okay, and no liquidation risk. So this is exactly what the product was. However, once we launched, because we were first-time founders, we realized it's still very difficult for regular people to trade on. People don't understand leverage. Crypto traders do. So basically, essentially, the problem statement of getting more people to trade was not getting fulfilled at all, right? Now, during this time, we did realize that one way we could simplify is like yes, no trading, right? How can we make it more language-based? All of us did trade a lot on Polymarket that time too. Probo existed. I never traded on Kalshi, but these were the platform. And we naturally were like, yeah, prediction market does simplify, the accessibility or the relatability bit, right? However, in the existing platform, there was one issue. Platform always was either American or Indian or something else, right? Now, the moment a platform is of a specific region or specific, community, it means that there's a high possibility someone will not relate to those markets, right? At the time when we started building this, I was in Korea. Now, in Korea, majority of the masses, they have absolutely 100% knowledge about K-pop or K-dramas, right? They really care, or they care maybe about baseball. That could be one common thing with US. But they don't necessarily care so much about like who's going to win the elections. They're not very political people, mostly, right? So how do you onboard someone from each part of the world, right? Of course, that's not the GTM, so don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you target all at once, but rather how do you get the different data points which matter? Now, for anybody to know those data points, you need to know your curve, right? So a centralized platform, it's very difficult to do, which is why the feel of community led. So I will double down on that, but I'll just take a step back. Prediction markets at the core are nothing but fully collateralized options trading, right? So which is what like our expertise was. On the front, it does look like a yes, no. But in the back end, mathematically, it's actually options or binary fully collateralized options. So we never basically pivoted from our expertise. But this beautiful product, which thanks to Kalshan Poly is now much more known in the world, it actually simply like allows people to be trading and moving away from betting. That means managing their risk better, being more knowledgeable about it, and yet getting the feel of like using your knowledge, not the knowledge of the markets, but your knowledge, whether it's on sports, whether it's on politics, whether it's on Hollywood, whatever it is that people really care about. And that's how it came to be. Before, I have a question. In Germany, you guys have that competition, right? I think who cuts a pretzel in the most accurate manner, unless I'm wrong. So for Germans, it must be exciting. So imagine you can have a market on that if it's creator-led, right? So that's the meaning of the community-owned or creator-led market. I'll come back on that, like how that really works. But
Please.
I hope this answers your question.
Certainly.
Well, that's super interesting. I'm coming from Germany and grew up there. However, you know more about the pretzel. Never heard of it.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it's quite popular.
Yeah, I guess it's because like especially pretzels are more like a dish of the south of Germany, not necessarily of the north.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, like you know pretzels in the north, but it's not like that common.
But that was an interesting example, also the K-pop or Hollywood and so on. Maybe if we summarize what you just told in one clear sentence for the audience, what is Flick in short?
So Flick is a yes and no trading platform where anyone can come and create a market, right? And usually in a more like jargonized term, we say it's a creator-owned prediction market. So that's how we define it. When I say it's creator-owned or anyone can come create a market, it basically means that you're also aligning or earning from creating markets. And that's why people tend to do that. Who are these people who generally create markets? It can be any of us, but usually it's influencers who do have a large user base because they know what their users or the community wants, and they create markets which matters to them, so that they are able to trade on it, monetize on it, and back their opinions or win money where they know they have better knowledge, basically.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So Flick focuses on user-created yes/no markets, on those real-world events, and you mentioned some cultural moments, K-pop, and so on, and could be sports as well. So, what's the reason? Why is it that important to let anyone create markets instead of creating everything centrally? And maybe a second question on that: what could be some risks that are involved if anyone can create a market?
So I'll start with the first one. Anyone can create a market. Why is it important? I think it's very current, this question, even in terms of AI, right? When we talk about the risk of leaving anyone behind, there's so much diversity, there's so many cultures, there's so many things which people care about. And all the community, the people, there is always a varying degree of what they care about, what knowledge they have. Any central authority cannot actually decipher for the whole world, right? When we're talking about markets, the more data points there, more data points means more users there, more trades there from variety, cognitively diverse people, right? Or with a diversity of opinions. Better knowledge-based decision-making power comes into play primarily. It might be a very philosophical answer, but I'll give you like a very, a watered down version as well. So it becomes very important in terms of that for anyone to create markets. On the other hand, like if we want to go into Nigeria, right? That's one of the markets where we started with. They speak something called Pidgin English. That's what is common for them. We naturally had a lot of influencers who were betting punters in Nigeria, and they had fantastic knowledge about football. And they came to us because we were not starting with sports. We don't have forte in sports at all. And these guys said that, hey, we have the knowledge, we want to create markets on this because right now we're getting money from the betting platforms, right? However, with this, we can actually earn directly from the platform. We put in the hard work, our users are trading on it, and there's no cap on how much we can earn, right? So they started creating markets which they would otherwise just simply be like sharing for betting platforms with an added benefit. They felt this is much safer because their users were trading against each other versus in a betting platform where they were trading against the house, right? And also could exit the position like taking in the profit, right? Just like a trading platform does. Anyway, that's that's a bit of a digress. So how they create the language, right? The Pidgin English and what markets matter to them, this would have not been possible without us having markets which are creator owned primarily. So it became very important. Now with that, we also started getting markets such as will the national grid fall in Nigeria, right? I had no idea that that's a problem in the country, right? And then now we've expanded to other countries as well, like Brazil. There's certain things which are important to them. All these things came via those creators in their own local language, right? We also have a Polish creator. We have who creates markets in Polish. We've had in between like some Chinese creators from Taiwan, who created markets for them. So there's so many data points that became very important for the creator led. And then when it's much like a Patreon or creators where there is monetization benefit for them, and for us naturally it becomes the distribution channel. We don't have to start from scratch particularly. But when we talk about the risk, like coming to that point, it is difficult, right? Otherwise, everybody would have been doing it. I think we're the only creator-led market which is processed over, I think, 55,000 markets already. And we're still growing week by week. And the risks which come with it are all like solvable, but still we had to think about because the structure of the market completely changes from beginning to end. When you're centrally creating markets, you're checking them, you're aligned with it. Over here, the first thing which we had to think about, how do you ensure that the creators' profits are aligned with the traders' profits? Because in that way, the creator will create markets which are profitable for the trader, or they want the traders to profit and not for them to lose money, right? So a simple example that on Flick, if $1 million traded and the event probability of happening was 50%, and at the end, let's say yes won, yes was the right resolution, that means the profit was about 500,000, right? Because yes, shareholders, they won and they got the shareholding of no, right? Just like in a binary market. So now 500,000 was the profits. The creator directly earns 10% of that 500,000. That's $50,000 from one market, right? So that's a very aligned model. They don't want to manipulate the market. Since their name is visible, they don't want traders to lose. They want simply a market where they can trade a lot and earn more profit because that's how their earnings will be, set in place. This is just a very basic, but the other idea is like, what is the content of the markets, right? We've noticed there are certain markets like X markets, how many views will certain thing like tweets get? You can very easily go and manipulate the tweets. I mean, the views of the tweet, right? So, guardrails around that, seeing like how to penalize creators who are not, aligned with the traders. Similarly, resolution rules. Although they can be very vague given centralized platform, we've seen with the example of Zelensky and even Venezuela. But on our platform, we have to approve the markets to ensure there's nothing negative, there's no hate comment. Then the rules are very clear so that people know how will it be resolved, right? So these are things which we have to build around. So yes, there are risks involved, but I wouldn't say necessarily that the risks are not solvable, or rather they're much more far-fetched than how it would be for a centralized platform. If at all, it becomes a little bit more solid because here now the onus is on creators who are creating the platform, and that traders know who the the creator is. So they do hold them accountable, and maybe they won't trade again if they don't feel comfortable about the market itself. I hope that answers your question.
It does. And I think it's good that you have this control layer to actually have like some kind of a equation or quality measure to prohibit hate and things like that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I don't know. Yeah, I this was really close to my heart. Like I don't remember the platform, but I'm Indian, and I remember there was a market on whether India will go to war with Pakistan, right? It might be a fun market to trade on, but in reality, it's a very dangerous market, right? Because we don't want people to go to war. It does not benefit anyone. And when you have such markets which can be provoking, right? Like it can lead to some people benefiting from it, and ultimately, of course, like how we talk about the entire weapons thing as well on the government level, that governments benefit from it. That's why wars keep going on, and whatever, whether it's a theory or not. So these things became very important. That when you have that cultural identity or people creating the markets, when they care about it, like there's been much more sense of sensibility versus like trying to do something which can really create a negative impact through these things.
Yeah, and I mean, we basically have the same situation right now. There are markets like related to the Iranian conflict at the moment. And I do believe we really need to make sure that like nobody benefits on like predicting on something, and he's benefiting basically from the death of a human. I think that's very key here. On the other hand side, I do believe prediction markets can benefit even like resolving conflicts, because like people have an incentive to seek the truth through prediction markets. And we all know like the problem with like fake news and like basically with this bombarding of like news in all kinds of platforms. And with these prediction markets, people, yeah, like I said, now have an incentive to find the truth and to maybe create a little bit more reliability again. And even in the last consequence, even that conflicts can resolve sooner. At least that's my hope. But maybe on a slightly different topic here, many people like confuse prediction markets with like betting or gambling. How do you explain the difference between like speculation, gambling, betting, and on the other hand side, opinion markets or prediction markets?
I think I can answer that with one word, which is very important, I feel, is risk management. The very basic line between gambling and trading, not from now, since when trading started, it is just risk management. And how is that possible? It comes from the mere idea. I don't know. I don't. I think quite a few people know this now, but just in case someone doesn't know, the first time derivatives, right, were used, they were in Japan by farmers. So it was basically in order to manage their risk. When a farmer sows their rice, they're not. It's not the same day that they'll be harvesting it. It'll be a couple of months later. Now, during that couple of months, it's a possibility that the price or the cost that was incurred to sow those rice can really drop down. And they want to protect themselves from that, because if the price goes down, that means they lose money, right? It's their livelihood. On the other hand, they sell it to merchants. Merchants always worried, what if the price really goes up, right? So that's the first form of derivatives trading which happened. And imagine the use case was completely hedge the position. When it comes to betting, the use case has never been that. Use case has been the thrill of a human trying to earn a quick buck, right? So the concept, like, although it depends on the culture where you are, where it's legal or not, and how you look down upon it or not look down upon it, it's completely different fundamentally. When I am betting on sports in a betting website, I already get the odds, right? That means how much return can I get on it. Secondly, I'm trading against the house. And thirdly, that I cannot exit once I've entered the position, right? I'm logged in. Now compare that with a predictions market, right? Or a trading platform. Firstly, I'm trading, I don't have defined odds. The odds are defined by what people are trading at. That's demand and supply. So it's new price levels which are created by people of similar different opinions, right? Secondly, I'm not trading against the house. That means house does not have the power to ban me, to stop me, or limit my profits as well. And there's no central authority that is controlling it. It's the peers. I'm trading against other traders, right? And thirdly, if I, let's say, do at 50 cents, I can exit at 60 cents. I'm still profiting about those 10 cents in, right? I don't have to wait for me or the market to end resolve for me to be able to earn money. And in fact, people who know that, they do very well, because even if you're wrong in that case, like, you can still pocket profit and not lose absolutely zero. So in trading or prediction markets particularly, everything is in your hand in terms of that. And this is the very basic or the core of the difference between like trading and betting, right? Now, if we considered Wall Street illegal, then I would say then there is no argument there, right? Basically.
No, that's like super interesting. And I guess like your argument that it's actually a free market steered by supply and demand, I think that's like very clear and the main differentiator to those betting platforms. And also like betting platforms are like always like incentivized to limit the profits of their bettors, right? Because they would lose money if like one bettor is like earning like too much profit, and they actually do that. So I do believe like for people participating in prediction markets, this is like a way better option to actually predict something, or like even if it's just a hobby to basically just play or like do their hobby. And this also leads me like to my next question, because like prediction markets, I mean, of course, they are around for a couple of years now, but they are still like quite young. It's like a young industry, if you want to call it an industry. But where do you see the future of prediction markets? And do you also believe that it's like kind of a winner takes it all market, where like you have like a couple of platforms that are really dominating certain categories like politics or sports?
I don't think it'll be a winner takes it all market, because I feel like there's just, the world is such a big place, right? It might appear so right now. And I will draw parallels from exchanges, right? When electronics exchanges started popping up, people thought like there'll be a winner takes it all. However, if you look around right now, Deutsche Börse is one example, London Stock Exchange is one example, there's CMA, there's New York Stock Exchange, India has its own. Like, there are multiple exchanges which are just not private but also government owned, or centralized rather, in terms. I feel very much prediction markets will go that way. However, what I feel strongly about more than this is the fact that prediction markets, and I don't know if someone's building it already, or how are they going to go, but prediction markets are going towards a way that how each distribution channel allow for attention to be converted to like, for example, if you go to a website and it has like a million viewers, and it's, let's say, all about entertainment and gossip, so a prediction market will plug themselves in there, so you're monetizing or giving a way for these users to be able to interact or use their attention or knowledge without really leaving the platform and going to another thing. So I do feel like that's where I see like prediction markets to be there, like very embedded across the globe, across like platforms, and customized to what their viewers require. Because ultimately, end of the day, the moment you're talking about like trading, prediction markets, any of these things, there's simply a place to share your opinion, right? And the credibility comes from the fact that you're putting a buck to it. And I strongly feel, and like, this is where probably like prediction markets are really going to like head. And I feel like from every, and we see that also to an extent, right? Like, I feel like a lot of the wallets, MetaMask has its own prediction markets embedded. I think it's Poly, which is embedded there, or like Trust Wallet. Most of these different distribution channels do have, and I feel like that's how it'll keep evolving.
Yeah, or take some media outlets, right? With the corporation.
Yes.
I think CNN is like cooperating with Kalshi. Yahoo is cooperating
Yes.
with Polymarket. So
It's interesting though, because these guys have still just incorporated just like the data side of it, and really not integrated the ability for a user to not leave the website to be able to trade on it right away.
Right.
Right? So there's still a missing gap there, which I feel is really big in terms of how it could really go. And it's funny that I think right now they're just sharing data, and most of these partnerships come from there versus actually being able to, like, I would love to see as a user just going somewhere and being able to trade right away.
Yeah.
Right. It's as simple as that.
No, fully agree. And interestingly, we're in touch with a few traders as well, and some of them also tell, like, I don't watch news anymore. I now go to the prediction markets platform, and there I get my up-to-date information, and there's the truth actually. And so things are changing. We also need to change a little bit. We are running out of time. We would love to continue with so many questions. However, we would like to switch gears and go to quickfire now. So we will ask you one question each, and you have 1 word to answer. Are you ready?
No, but okay. Let's do it.
Okay, let's go. Are prediction markets closer to news or finance?
News. Create-led platform, so news.
The most underrated signal in prediction markets?
The ability of yes and no.
Creator incentives, dangerous or powerful?
If aligned with the platform, powerful. If simply for paid marketing, dangerous.
Good. One misconception regulators have about prediction markets?
Betting.
One misconception users have about prediction markets?
Betting.
Community signal beats expert opinion, yes or no?
Does. One law of numbers. It has to reach that. Cognitive diversity. I know you said 1 word, but I'm sorry. I'm just yes is the 1 word. Everything else explained.
1 word for the future of creator-driven markets.
Successful.
Okay. And now I give you 1 sentence. If Flick succeeds over the next 5 years, and we of course believe it will, what changes about how people form opinions, hedge uncertainty, and express conviction?
1 word, inclusivity.
Okay. Wanted to give you 1 sentence.
Okay, 1 sentence, sorry. I missed that. I think once it succeeds, and this goes for any creator-led platform, anyone who's actually trying to solve for minority, majority, any diverse crowd of people, which we all are as humans, we are the same, but with cognitive diversity, it will solve for, the kind of knowledge and news and opinions we are getting. And I don't know if you have another question for rapid fire. Do you?
No.
Okay, I want to share one thing, since a long time. You did share that, that it's a very good tool to discover what is a rumor and what is actually true. In a creator-led market, this is one of the thought processes behind it. Let's say there's war erupted between country A and country B. A creator from country A is reading the news that country B attacked, whereas from country A, they're reading the news that country B attacked. So the question they'll create will be completely different from the perspective of that.
Right.
The fact these two exist and the fact that people will be trading with different opinions on it can actually uncover the truth of how media and government do manipulate innocent people in order to pit them against each other, right? So just one of the example, I just had it in my mind, this is one of the ways. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I love that, and I completely agree. So to wrap up the show, how do people find you? Where can they learn more about Flick? And who should we talk to next?
Ooh, I really wish, firstly, where can you find me? You can find me on LinkedIn, Surbhi Singh with Flick, FLIQ. On Twitter at Surbhi Barar, SURBHIBARAR. Then we have Flick on Twitter, which is Predict on Flick. It's an actionable, so you can always remember. Actually, considering what is happening in the world right now, I would really want, and I know it might be a far-fetched dream, but if you can get Trump right now, I would really like to understand what's going to happen in the market volatility next. But on the tech side of things, I really would hope if you can get Anthropic's CEO, because I do feel there is a new narrative, which is the plugging off the businesses, and that might mean prediction markets as well in case of AI infusing. So that might be very relevant to what you guys are really discovering and building and aggregating from perspective of prediction markets. And if not so, then Opinion Labs, I think there's still so much to learn from them. So you have 3 options.
Great options, definitely. All right. Thank you so much. That wraps up this week's episode of Internet Capital Markets. A huge thank you to Surbhi for joining us today on our episode on the power of creator-led prediction markets. If you enjoyed today's discussion, make sure to subscribe, rate, and share the show. It helps us to bring more conversations with the people shaping the future of on-chain finance. This is Internet Capital Markets. Please join us next week. Until then, stay curious, stay connected, and keep building the future of finance. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Danke schön. Bye.